This is Coffee with God, and I am Father Jose. Let us begin this day with the Word of God and a short reflection.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew, chapter 12, verses 38 to 42. The passage is taken from the Message version of the Bible. Later, a few religion scholars and Pharisees got on him. "Teacher, we want to see your credentials. Give us some hard evidence that God is in this. How about a miracle?" Jesus said, "You're looking for proof, but you're looking for the wrong kind. All you want is something to titillate your curiosity, satisfy your lust for miracles. The only proof you're going to get is what looks like the absence of proof. Jonah evidence. Like Jonah, 3 days and nights in the fish's belly, the Son of Man will be gone 3 days and nights in a deep grave. On Judgment Day, the Ninevites will stand up and give evidence that will condemn this generation, because when Jonah preached to them, they changed their lives. A far greater preacher than Jonah is here, and you squabble about proofs. On Judgment Day, the Queen of Sheba will come forward and bring evidence that will condemn this generation, because she traveled from a far corner of the earth to listen to wise Solomon. Wisdom far greater than Solomon's is right in front of you, and you quibble over evidence."
Reflections on the Gospel according to St. Matthew chapter 12, verses 38 to 42. Evangelist Matthew presents the Pharisees and the scribes as the adversaries of Jesus. Most of the arguments against the teachings and signs of Jesus came from these religious leaders. They are at it again, but with a seemingly genuine request for a sign from heaven. Matthew had already reported several signs and miracles of Jesus. Those who have seen what Jesus was doing have been astonished, praising God and saying, "God has visited us." However, the religious leaders, blinded by their prejudice, accused Jesus of using the powers of Satan for his teachings, exorcisms, and healings. With this request for a sign from heaven, the Pharisees and the scribes must have been demanding Jesus to present his credentials. Jesus retorts by calling them as an evil and unfaithful generation that asks for a sign. Signs and wonders were happening all around them, but they pretended blindness. So the Lord calls them an evil and unfaithful generation. No matter what he said or did, they would not believe. Remember the parable of the rich man and poor Lazarus, one in hell and the other on the bosom of Father Abraham? Father Abraham tells the rich man in hell, if they, that's his brothers and sisters, do not listen to Moses and the prophets, neither would they be convinced even if someone rises from the dead. The same is the answer for the detractors of Jesus. There is no point in arguing with those who do not believe in God. Arguments cannot prove God, but only faith. Jesus offers them the sign of Jonah, which was well understood by the listeners of Matthew. The community of Matthew already believes in the resurrection of Jesus. Therefore, they knew the story of Jonah and also believed that Jesus rose from the dead on the third day. However, the Jews in Antioch who refused to believe in Jesus would not believe in his resurrection story. Matthew, through the words of Jesus, is challenging them. He reminds them of the sign of Jonah, which every Jew believed. Jonah remained in the sea for 3 days before seeing the surface. Jesus will manifest the greatest sign from heaven, the sign of the resurrection. The leaders had no explanations or answers for the teachings and mighty works of Jesus, but they refused to believe because they regarded themselves as people of knowledge and learning. Complacency and intellectual pride are probably the biggest temptations that confront us today. Sometimes we are stiff-necked and stubborn, like the scribes and the Pharisees of the gospel today. We refuse to give up our set patterns of behavior and consider everyone else wrong. The gospel invites us to open our eyes and witness the beauty of God's miracle all around us.